with and see with workplace and see if we can figure out what the hell's going on. Buenos dias, because I'm not. That's Warrior's Way. Let's come to Warrior Leader. Okay. So I'm seeing myself from my cell phone now. Yeah, I can see that. We'll try it one more time, Daniel, and see if you can roll through. Gentlemen, we are experiencing some technical difficulties. Some technical difficulties that are causing us some chaos this morning. We have a couple software tools that have to talk to each other, and a couple of those software tools are not working for whatever reason. So I'm going to chit-chat with you here a little bit via the cell phone, and hopefully this thing will course correct itself. If not, guess what? Well, there was a time here about 2 months ago where I just ran the whole goddamn thing on my cell phone. Well, yeah, it looks good now, Max. I'm on my cell phone. But all of our cool angled strategic cameras that are amazing are not working right now inside the network. Something's not connecting. There's a disconnect. So, fuck it. We're going to roll with it anyways. And I'm going to jump into a couple conversations here. We've got a couple things going on. I mean, my hot seats are going to be a little bit ridiculous if we try to hot seat some people today. We had some vitamin D training that we were going to jump into that we won't be able to watch that either. So we're just going to jump straight into some ideas and some powerful conversation around the topics for today. Our topics here really come down to three things. Three particular topics that we must have in order to lead. Number one is your ability to collide in conversation. Okay, so let's have a chat about colliding in conversation for a second. Your ability, you know what? I could do, they're not downstairs. You know what, here, help me move these chairs. Daniel, you keep working. Natalie, come over here. Help me move all these chairs out of the way so I can ride on this table. About to go OG status. Hard right turn, you got this. Shit, son. See, what people don't remember is I'm the guy who used to, you don't have to move them all the way to the right, just move these ones so they're kind of moving forward. I'm a guy that didn't have shit. I didn't have any of this, man. I had to train my ass off and learn how to train the old school way. But I was always like drawing on shit, so we're just going to start there. We're going to draw on some shit. And can you clear all this chaos off of here? Beautiful. Okay. Fuck it. Audible. Turning right. Let me see that BMF cup right there. Nothing like a bad motherfucker cup. That one right there. And we're going to go like this. And I'm going to put it like this. And we're going to talk. Okay, switch on the fly. All right, listen. Three conversations that exist inside of this. I'm going to teach you a little bit of what I call the trifecta of the formula. Now we're going to talk about it. So get yourself ready. That's a horrible stand. This is not like working. Okay, there we go. So you got a couple things that we need to deal with. Okay? We need to deal with a couple things. Number one, we have to deal with this understanding of what communication is. Okay? And, oh yeah, Sean, thank you for sending me that cup, buddy. Here it is. Oh, we just got to cover it up. Oh, look at those beautiful fingernails. Ooh. Those are not one of the men. It's one of their wonderful ladies here. BMF, bad motherfucker. There we go. Thank you, Sean Briscom. All right. Oh, good idea. That's why you were putting that there. It helps balance it. I like where you're going with that. Okay, we have communication, we have coaching, and we have consulting. Inside of those three, we have the formula. Okay? The formula. Here we go. We'll turn this around. We're going to start way down here. What is communication? Okay, communication is your ability to have powerful conversations around three things. One, around problems. Two, around pain and pleasure. And three, your ability to talk about possibilities. So every single day in your communication game, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with problems, we're dealing with pain and pleasure, and we're dealing with possibilities. And the challenge that you have is when you get into communication, you have a couple people involved. You have you, involved in a conversation, and you have others involved in communication. Others involved in communication and you involved in communication. Now, in between you two are mindsets. In between you two are skill sets. Around the topic of what? The topic of communication. So both you and others, you don't communicate the same at all. There is a story, and inside that story is a worldview. And that worldview dictates how another person ultimately experiences this conversation of communication. So one of the first challenges you're going to have as a leader is being able to figure out what language of communication your people are actually speaking. And not just the people you're leading, I mean anybody. Right? So on a day-to-day basis with Warrior Week, we're dealing with the city of Orange County, we're dealing with the sheriff's department, we're dealing with fire department, we're dealing with Parks and Rec, we're dealing with hotels, we're dealing with restaurants, we're dealing with insurance companies, we're dealing with 17 different guys involved with 4 different certified trainers. Like, we're dealing with a shitload of stuff that's happening. Okay? Shitload of stuff that's happening all at once, and all of these people communicate differently. So if we come back to this, communication exists for one particular point or one direction. Why do I keep putting the lid on a pen? And the only reason it exists is so that you can obtain an outcome. Now, there is communication that happens where you have you involved with others that is bullshit. And bullshit communication is communication you never should have been involved in. This is fighting for no purpose. This is battling for no reason. This is chasing down shit that doesn't actually matter to you. The outcome that you're actually pursuing, that is desired. I'm not talking about a bullshit outcome. I'm talking about a desired outcome. Something you actually want to go after. You're saying, I want to go after that thing right there. It demands that you understand the ability to, or the skill sets to be able to communicate with another person. Bullshit communication, which has bullshit outcomes, which is stuff that you don't really care about and you're not concerned about, those right here, we're just going to assume for a second that that's not even happening. We're not even talking about how to deal with those because they're things you shouldn't be involved in. How do you know when you're in a bullshit conversation? It's really simple. When you're in a bullshit communication game with another person where the war has begun through collision, it's because you are committed to being right and you are unclear about what you want. Not clear. This is the checkbox. You're saying, hey, the purpose of this communication right now is for me to be right because right now I have no clarity whatsoever about what I actually want. So I'm going to go to war inside of a collision-based conversation of communication, and the only reason I'm having this communication is so I can be right.
We're on Vimeo. Okay.
We're on Vimeo streaming inside the network or what?
It's showing.
Vimeo's good to go.
I've posted the link.
It's streaming?
Yep.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out. We may have our backup. And you know what? Even though we have our backup, I may just stay on my cell phone here for this first little part, and then we'll go. Can you still do everything you normally do, Daniel?
Yeah.
Everything can go normal.
Well, I guess the only difference is that it's a link that was taken away from Workplace, but
No, it's streaming live inside the network right now, bro. You bet your fucking ass it is. You bet your ass it is. No, it's streaming live inside the network right now. Oh. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. Daniel's son has a backup. That's right, Workplace. Ain't nothing gonna break my heart. Ain't nothing gonna hold me down. Oh no, you got to keep on moving. Ain't gonna break my heart. Ain't nothing gonna slow us down. Oh no. And I'm gonna finish this part inside my cell phone anyways, because I'm having fun going old school, and then we'll come back over to the stream. So just know that's the case, Daniel. We're gonna come over to stream here in just a second. Okay, it's always fun to hear me on delay yelling and singing ridiculous songs in the background. Okay, so my communication, when I'm wanting to be right, I'm fucked. How do I know that? When I'm in a bullshit communication, I'm really committed to being right and I've lost sense of what I want. Now let's assume though that you and others actually are committed to a specific outcome. There's something that you want. here is what you're going to have to be clearly able to do, which is attack problems, attack pain, attack pleasure, and attack possibility. When I say attack, I mean get to the facts. This is what we're after. We're after the facts. So the formula, I need to turn off this laptop. It's like I can hear myself over here streaming. It's driving me nuts. Okay, there we go. I have to come back to the facts. Now the formula, which is what we're going to be training on at the Warrior Business Summit big time. I'm going to give you a little nipple today. Give a little teaser. Okay, what do we say this was? This was all driven off. The formula was born from the code. Right? Which is this sentence that says, hey, listen, I need to be real. I've got to get raw. I've got to stay relevant inside of that real and that raw. And ultimately, there's a focus on some kind of result that matters to me. Okay, so the code, that's all. Real, raw, relevant results. All right, well, the translation of this into leadership is what I call the formula. Just the formula, black and white, really simple. The formula. Okay, so what does the formula tell us? The formula tells us that the basis of communication exists in the facts. Okay, so some people's mindset and skill sets, when you deal with others, they don't want to deal with the facts. They want to deal with fiction. They want to deal with fantasy. Right? Or maybe you're the guy who's actually more in love with the idea of fiction and fantasy than actually being in love with what? Being in love with the facts. So the code, when we say real, is a pursuit of the facts. It's married right up here, facts. So the practical game of real is get to the facts. So let's look at this. As a leader, it is impossible to lead without the facts. You want to create a bunch of hesitation, you want to create a bunch of chaos, you want to create a bunch of confusion, you want to feel sorry for yourself, you want to create fucking problems for yourself. Guess what? Lead from fiction. Fire people from fiction. Make economic moves in your business driven by fiction. Right? Engage your team with fiction. So that the first place it starts out in leadership then is your communication with yourself. If you can't communicate with yourself every single morning through the stack and tell the fucking truth, if you can't engage you in the morning and tell the truth, what chance do you think you have in telling anybody else the truth? What chance do you think you have to being able to laser your eyes in to a communication with other people whose mindsets and skill sets are typically driven by fantasy and fiction, not by the facts? How much chance do you think you have of leading them? It's a big old goose egg. About zero. Maybe 1%. Even a squirrel gets a nut sometimes. So our desire is to get to the facts. We desire to get those facts inside of ourselves. So we look at a couple different sides of facts, though. The facts that we're looking for are in three directions. Okay, we're looking for the facts of the past. We're looking for the facts of the present. And we're looking for the facts of the future. Now, you can enter the conversation of the facts using the formula driven by the code from any one of these three places. You can enter it from the past. You can enter it from the present. You can enter it from the future. And I know some of you are like, what the fuck? How can it be a fact about the future? Listen, this will make sense in a second. It doesn't matter which entry point you choose. But the principle stays the same every time, which is you have to get to the facts. If you don't get to the facts, there is no possible way for you to lay down a focus. There's no possible way for you to lay down a focus. Right? So people come to you as a leader and they're looking for focus. They're saying, well, Garrett, help me get focused. You're like, well, guess what? I can't help you be focused if I don't know the facts. Well, Garrett, help me be focused. I can't help you be focused because your feelings are all over the place right now. We've got to bring your feelings down. Not in a bad way. We got to get your feelings out of the way so that we can actually get to the facts. So here's now where the tricky piece comes in. You're a human being. The people you lead are human beings. The people you engage with, the others, in that little equation of communication and that collision, involves other people. Most people have a very, very low emotional IQ. Low. About as low as their financial IQ. You tend to see a correlation between this. People with higher financial IQ results in money tend to have higher emotional IQ because they've had to deal with and learn how to deal with a lot of pressure. Some of the lowest level emotional IQ of people I've ever met are people who really struggle with money. Because there's a direct correlation between making money and emotional IQ. If your emotional IQ is shit, your capacity to create is not legit. It will fall apart in you. So as a leader, my job is to help people get to the facts. Why? Because inside the facts, we can create a focus. Inside of feelings, we can't create a focus. Feelings cloud the game. And most of the feelings you have are lies. Driven by what? Driven by fantasy. So, see, this is the other troubling piece over here. Is I can be in a situation with fiction and fantasy, and I'm not living by the code, and I'm dealing with another person who's in fiction and fantasy who has a whole shitload of feelings. And these feelings are distorting the facts, distorting the focus, distorting the fruit. You can't trust that person. What that person's telling you over here, this formula of fiction and fantasy driven into feelings that distort the facts, focus, and fruit, that's suicide mission. That is a suicide mission. So you try to lead somebody from that place, that's a suicide mission. It's no good. No bueno. You're going down. Bad idea. Don't try it. Okay, so our goal is to get to the facts. Now I'm going to dive into the formula piece of how we use this thing. So I come into the conversation. It doesn't matter if somebody comes at me with what they want, which would be future. Where they are, which would be present, or where they've been, which would be past. Okay, do you see this? Somebody comes into a conversation with you. You enter into a collision-based communication as a leader. Somebody gives you, hey, this is what I want. Okay, that's future. If they had it, they wouldn't want it. They'd already have it. Well, here's what I want. So anytime somebody's using the language of, here's what I want, it's because they don't have it right now. They're saying, I want to go to this place where I can get that thing. Okay, now the flip side of this then is if somebody gets upset about where things have been, then we're dealing with the past. Well, this is how it used to be. This is what happened. Okay, now we're in the past. So I have, here's what I want, here's what I desire, here's what I wish, future. Here's what happened, here's where I was, here's what went down, past. Okay, then there is where I'm at right now, which is where are you right now? Now, of these three places, ultimately, no matter where you start, guess which of the three you have to end up at to actually create some powerful movement? Present. What are the facts? Right now. What are the facts? Right now. What are the facts about where you want to go? What are the facts about what actually happened? Now, if you notice, the stack does this. The stack gets you connected to the facts of the past. It gets you connected to the facts of what you want in the future. It gets you connected to the facts of where you are right now. That's why I love the stack, because the stack is really fucking simple at pulling that shit off. Okay, your leadership ability has to pull that same trifecta off. Now, once I get to the facts, here's what ends up happening. There is a bridge that I am trying to build. And there is a past that I am wanting to close. I want to close the past. I want to close the past. The past does not help me. It does not help you. You cannot create a better future from the past. You might want to write that shit down. You cannot create a better future from the past. Meaning, starting in the past as a point of reference to create a bigger future is impossible. It will not work. Most people attempt to create a bigger future by starting in the past. They focus on the shit in the past. They focus on the shame, the guilt, the blame. of the past. Again, the stack has an intention which is to bring you into what? Into the present. So inside the present, then, I create a different game. I'm not trying to close the present. I'm trying to open up the present because that gets a person I'm communicating with. It gets in here right now. So I close up the present, and once I've closed up the present, I now can clear up the future. So when I've done this strategically, and I've gotten very clear of the facts right now, and I've gotten very clear about the facts in the future. Here are the fruit, or the feelings that you have right now. Here is the fruit that you're experiencing right now. Here is the focus that you are operating from right now. Here are the facts of the past. Here are the feelings that you have about those facts. Here is the fruit that you experienced from those facts. Here was the focus that you had that produced those facts. But this whole piece right here, we're going to lock it down. We don't give a shit. This is where 99% of humanity wants to spend their time. They want to spend all this fucking time investigating the past. Look at the past. When I was 2 years old, my dad spanked me. I got all these problems. And now, because I'm a 41-year-old man, I have this, this huge phobia of belts because my dad used to whip me with a belt. And you're like, cool, I totally get it. It's great. And you know what? There's a huge place for working on your shit from the past. Closing up the past is what the process is called. It's good. Package it up, deal with the past, confront the past, close up the past. I get that. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time with somebody as a leader working on closing up the past. I did for a few years. It was a nightmare. It was a goddamn nightmare. Not going to lie to you. Goddamn nightmare. Because there's just, it never ends. Like, there's always something that you could clean up about the past. And the problem is that if you spend all your time trying to clean up the past, you're not actually ever in the present. So there is a black hole that exists between the present and the past. If you spend too much time in here, this itself becomes nothing more than a giant circle jerk. This becomes a drift. And you will find yourself looping, 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 looping. So I spent a number of years looping. Not a number of days, not a number of weeks, not a number of coaching sessions. I literally just was looping. And every coach I had was never focusing on the second half of the formula, which would pull me out of the fucking loop. This is why, although I love the work by Byron Katie, completely obviously has inspired the stack, she has changed my life personally, and her content has changed tons of people's lives that I've effectively sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of those books for her. But here was the challenge I had. I was never going forward. The formula pulls me forward. The formula's focus is not on you in the past. The formula's focus is on you moving forward. It's not about feeling good in the present. It's about getting clear and distinguishing where you are in the present so that you can what? So that you can move forward. So everything that we do inside of leadership, taught inside of comprehensive consulting, is about closing the past, getting clear in the present, and moving people into the future. Closing the past, getting clear in the present, and moving people towards the future. The end. 3 simple things. Close the fucking past, get them out of the drama loop of the past, get them into the present moment. Now they're in the present moment, move them towards the future. What do they desire now? So you can have somebody that shares with you in shitloads of pain, shitloads of anguish, anger, frustration. You're like, I hear you, 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 I hear you. So where are you at now? That's a question I'll use. So where are you at now? So where are you at now? So where are you at now? Today, where are you at right now? Well, I'm here. Okay. What are the facts about being right here? Well, the facts are this. Here's what it looks like. Here's what it feels like. Here's what it sounds like to be where I am. Here's the fruit of being where I am. And I'm asking, well, does that fruit work for you? No, it does not work for me. Okay. If it does work for you, then you're probably not going to move forward to a bigger future. But if it doesn't work for you, then you're going to move forward to a bigger future. Now I can help you out. So I come in, I'm like, okay, what are the facts in this moment? What is the focus in this moment? The focus in this present moment leads me to the possibility of seeing a bigger future. Now, as a consultant, I come over and I say, okay, well, what are the facts that exist over here in the future? And I might start with the fruit. And I might say, okay, well, what is the fruit that you want? And these words, the facts, feelings, focus, fruit, all of these can be interchanged. But I come over here and I'm like, okay, well, what is it? And I'm working with the person to help. I work with what they give me. I work with what they give me, knowing I've got to close it all down. So they give me the fruit. And now I may go to the feelings. And I say, okay, what are your feelings around this? My feelings are A, B, and C. Okay. And now I come down to all right, well, what does the focus need to be in order for that fruit to be a possibility? And now comes in our question, who must I become? And so what I've done, if I do this correctly, what I've opened up for another human being is I've opened something up for him. And I've opened up what I call the chasm. The chasm. The chasm is what exists between the present and the future. If I've done my job correctly as a leader and I've used the formula to get to the facts, I've created an awareness of the chasm. The chasm is the distance between present and future reality. There is this void that exists. Here is where I am today. Here is where I want to be tomorrow. I want to be more. I want to be here. I want this fruit. I want to feel like this. I want a focus that feels like, that operates like this. Here's where I am right now. Here's my fruit. Here's my feelings about that fruit. Here's my focus today. Here's where I must be. Here's who I must become. Introduce the chasm. So we come back over here. Communication is the ability for you to collide with others and to open up the potential to use the formula. Most of you are not having conversations that actually lead to much often enough. Because of that, you tend to be in a situation where the results that you're getting are not actually what you want. And it's not because you're an idiot, it's because you don't have the courage to collide with other people. See, the formula can't be used if you don't collide. Collision operates off of Sir Isaac Newton's first law of physics. Okay, there were a series of literally physiological, physics-driven laws that were uncovered by Sir Isaac Newton, uncovered by Albert Einstein, and uncovered by a series of scientists, not philosophers, scientists who backed a lot of the mystical that had been taught inside of spirituality for centuries. But they started to actually back it with physics. Then physics became quantum mechanics, which means we've actually gotten to a place of backing the science behind what the mystical had been. That's why more people are living it, more people are understanding it. So here was the law, according to Sir Isaac Newton, is that an object will stay in motion at the same speed, at the same frequency, the same trajectory aka the same direction, going the same speed. Nothing will change from hoping. Nothing will change. Physics demands it. You could call it eternal law. You cannot break physics. Like the universe operates in order. Your mind, your fantasy fucks up the order. But your brain is connected to the universe. Inside that place, it operates in order. Your physical body has genetically been broken down, and you have energy meridians that operate inside of your body. And when you are on fire, you are connected through the crown of your mind to a power that is bigger than you. And inside that place, inside knowledge as a leader is given to you and then spread through the energy system so that that energy can be transmitted to you. So it's order. So come back to Sir Isaac Newton. Same direction. Same speed. Everything the same. Until acted upon by an outside force. Who's that outside force when you're a leader? You. When you wake up in the morning, you are under physics. You are under the rule of law. Eternal, universal law. Irregardless of whether you want to agree with it or not. It is like gravity. You can ignore it. You can pretend like it doesn't exist. It does not give a fuck. It will continue to be gravity irregardless of how you feel about it. Same thing about the law of physics when it comes to inertia, when it comes to propulsion of an object, which is you and your energy in motion until what? Acted upon by an outside source. So we start in the morning with a stack because a stack gives us an opportunity to deliberately smash and apply to ourselves the truth that physics has proved a long time ago. As a leader, once I've done that to myself in the morning, I now can step forward into other people's lives and I can do what? I can collide with them. Now, once I've collided, I open up the space for a new conversation because there's a dazed and confused moment like getting punched in the face. You're like, whoa. Seeing some stars for a second. Knees get a little wobbly. You're like, oh, a little wobbly. Oh. And inside of that space, we no longer in the space of just communication. We now begin to activate the coach. So coaching is the process of using the formula. Now I'm going to spend like 4 hours on this shit at Summit. You wait till I break this shit down for you. Your life's never going to be the same. You're going to be like, what the fuck? You're going to see exactly what I do to you guys all the time. And you're going to see how easy it is. Let me take that back. Not easy. You're going to see how simple it is. How easy it will be driven by you. Some of you will pull it off. Some of you will not. Let me repeat that. Some of you will pull that off. Most of you will not. Why? Because there's another law. 80-20. 80% of the people that will hear this from me will not do shit with it. 20% will. So, you on here, I think you're the 20%. Congratulations. You're going to do something with it. So coaching is the process of using all of this process to bring some clarity to a person's world. Collision through communication opens up the possibility for space, but does not guarantee space. It opens up the possibility for space, but does not guarantee space. Coaching guarantees space. Coaching's entire mission is to create space. Coaching is not about telling people what to fucking do. Coaching is about creating space. It's also about holding space, which is allowing and supporting another person. I ran out of whiteboards. Allowing and supporting another person, okay, to stay where? To stay in the space. Now, what opens up the space? Past, present, future. Open the space. Hold the space. Person starts to drift to the past. Come back. Now, once I have created the gap or the chasm by getting them completely in the present with an emotional connection to the future, now I can begin the game of consulting. Consulting is about telling people what to do. This is where, as a consultant, you come in and you build a map. That's your job, build a map. This is where coaching falls short. This is where just having good communication skills falls short. It's not enough. It's not enough to do. I don't know where that led to this marker went. It's somewhere. Somewhere under it. I'll find out a bit. It falls short. So when I say comprehensive consulting, that's like exactly what I mean. Comprehensive consulting is really simple. It is the ability for you to do a couple things. One, the ability for you to push forward into a conversation of connection to collision-driven communication. That's number one. Number two, your ability to ask questions and hold the space using the formula called coaching. Number three, your ability as a consultant to tell people what to do. Can you guys see the distinction between these three? Yes or no? Can you see the distinction between these three? Type this up so I can see it. Yes. Sean can see it. Who else can see it? Okay, what else are you guys seeing here with this? Sindre can see it. Sam Nieder can see it. Garrett Bate can see it. Who else? Who else can see this? Who else can see it? Rob Bell can see it. Phil can see it. Okay, Matt Osborne can see it. David Boyd can see it. Coaching and consulting. Chris Green can see it. Been looking for this clarity for ages. Andy Rosenfarb, I can see it. Jeff Casebeer, I can see it. Ben Nystrom, I only can see you. Well, I'm not talking about seeing me, Ben. You dumbass. I will punch you in the face clear back on the farm. Sean, I cannot successfully create the change without all three conversations. Okay, Ores, yes, being able to engage in constructive collision is the key to results. Carl, got it. So when I say comprehensive consulting as a category, like let's imagine that you're a coach, okay? A business coach. The challenge with most business coaches is that they don't actually know how to tell people what to do. They think they can just sit and ride on their laurels of asking a lot of fucking questions and helping people get clear. But the challenge is that there is ultimately a time in which the person who has hired you needs you to punch them in the fucking face and tell them what to do. So if you're just a coach, you're fucked. Now, on the flip side, if you're a consultant and you come in ready to tell people what to do, but you can't get people clear about where the fuck they've been, where the fuck they are, and where the fuck they're going to go, okay, if that's the case, if you're in that space, Okay, and you can't help people get there, you're worthless as tits on a bull as a consultant. Because you can tell people what to do, but you can't even get clear about where the fuck they are. So you suck at coaching, but you're good at consulting. You're good at telling people what to do, but you're not helping people get clear on where the fuck they are or where they want to go. So you end up trying to solve a lot of problems they don't even give a shit about. I've done that too. I've done the coach side where I didn't know what to tell people to do, so I just would keep asking questions. Well, what do you think you should do? Well, what do you think you should do? Well, let's pretend like for a second you knew what to do. What would you do? And this is great at a certain level because it challenges a person to think. But at some point, the higher up the food chain you go as a consultant and as a leader, people expect you to be able to throw down some shit and whiteboard some shit and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And what do you see here? And then people look at it like, oh, okay. Now, if you can't collide in communication, if your collision skills are weak, you can't coach. If your collision skills are weak, you can't consult. So look at the trifecta of these three things married together. Communication, coaching, consulting. Without these, if these three things do not live at the same time, you're done. And they are three very distinct, very unique situations. The end. Very distinct, very unique situations. So what questions you guys have? Type them up, because I'm not even going to go over to the normal. We're not even going to do a hot seat. But Garrett Bake, we're going to move you to certified trainer because our shit will be working by then. I'm going to stay right here on my cell phone. And we're going to wrap this thing up on my cell phone here in about 5 minutes. That's a good conclusion to this. Welcome back to the OG status on the cell phone. I got no problem with it. I'll just bust this shit out on a cell phone. What are you guys seeing and or what questions are you having? You have some questions with this. Okay, Andy Rosenfarb. Easy for some coaches and consultants and therapists to loop in facts and feelings without getting to focus and fruit. There's a big distinction that I see. Profitable, but relatively ineffective. This is what most therapists do. It's why therapy is like going out the fucking window, man. It's why therapy, the challenge is people are still going to therapy like crazy. Which is great because it helps people get their feelings out. But most people don't solve shit. They don't solve it. Sean, all three connected and interrelated. They function by exposing the chasm, aka holding space, which allows them to realize they must change behaviors today in order to get to what they want in the future, and they need your roadmap for that change. And they may not need your roadmap, but they need a roadmap that you may co-create with them. And the roadmap may be inside of them, but it requires you to lay some shit down so they can actually start seeing it. Questions come in from David Boyd. How do you know when to collide and how hard to hit? 2 reasons. Number 1, it depends on the conditions of the person that I'm coaching, consulting, or in communication with. Does the person want guidance and assistance? If somebody does not want guidance or assistance, then it doesn't matter. Whatever you say, they're not going to listen to it. So this is the first thing to understand. First thing to understand. You can collide in communication, but if you don't get somebody to a point inside of communication where they're willing to engage you in a combative conversation. And when I say combative, I'm going to talk about yelling and cussing and screaming. I'm just talking about being in a situation where 2 individuals are coming together with opposing views. So I only collide with people who I have a vested interest in colliding with, which means they're either in the way of getting what I want, or number 2, they're in a relationship with me in which they anticipate and expect me to lead. My clients, my employees, my partners, my team members, my wife, my children, but I don't reach out beyond that. If you're not in my stewardship, I don't give a fuck. I don't try to collide with you. I don't try to coach you. I don't try to consult with you. If I get into a communication cycle and somebody fights opening up the space, I will not try to coach them. I'll be like, okay, cool. And I definitely don't try to do this with people who do not put themselves in a position where they're seeking it. Sam Nieder, how do you tell someone what to do when you have not had the experience they're going through? It's a good question, Sam. It's a good question. So one of the principles we're going to talk about at Business Summit is the ability to generalize experience. Okay, so I may not be in a situation in which I'm having the exact experience that another person is having. But the principles underneath how that person got to where they are going to be the same principles or actions, the same sequence of feelings that they had that led them to that outcome may be very similar to one that I've had, only it looked a little bit different. So we're going to talk at Business Summit about the connection between these two ideas. How do I bring into effect my experience to support somebody in getting clear on a roadmap for their experience, even if the experience they are having is not the same as experience I've had? Obviously, the more closely linked the experience, the better. This is why I don't coach women. The same way I coach women in the hair industry with my wife and with our trainers. Inside that space, I'm not a woman, don't have a vagina, don't have breasts, married to one, have 2 little ones, 2 little girls. But inside of that, I still have to actually bridge the gap a bit with some credibility because I'm not a woman. Don't know what it's like to feel like to be a mom. Don't have that experience. So as a leader, I'm going to have to generalize the experience, but there are going to be basic building blocks of moving forward that must happen. This requires like an entire hour for me to draw out how that'll happen, so I'm not going to do that today. We'll do that at the Business Summit. Colin, how do you decide how long to stay in each area before you progress with the client? I follow my gut. What you're looking for is not a bunch of data. What you're looking for is a person who feels like they're ready to move forward. Communication collision into the factual formula may exist for less than 10 seconds. I'm not looking for amount of time. Where ultimately you want to spend the most amount of time is on the consulting piece. It's not on the communication piece, and it's not on the coaching piece. Ideally, you get through those 2 phases fairly quickly so that you can actually spend time on the work that's necessary. But you can't build a bridge if your foundation is weak. So communication collision and coaching allow us to build a solid foundation. And if we got to build some big shit, then I'm going to have to build a solid foundation. The one thing I will tell you is I don't ever leave a collision without some sort of consulting or action. Darren, how do we get comfortable and get better at colliding, knowing when to collide? Collide more. So right now I'm out in the water surfing every day. Okay, right now there is no swell. No swell. In about 10 days, the swell is going to come to Southern California. It will roll in here. Like surfers around here are like fucking freaking out. Because about 10 days from now, right about the end of the Warrior Business Summit, there is going to be in the beaches all up and down Orange County, 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 foot waves rolling in all fucking day long. Like this is a swell that Southern California has been waiting for years. Right now it's like dead. So I'm out in the water and there are some places still where the waves are breaking, but they're all beach breaks. So there's no reef breaks, there's no point breaks, there's nothing. It's all beach break, which means the waves will build, but they only build because they're coming into the beach. So there's no big swell. There's not enough push coming out in the water to build off the reefs, to build off the points, to build the waves that triangulate up and give you an ability to actually ride. So you ride these walls. So most guys are not out surfing. Me, on the other hand, I do not have enough time and attention on a board. And what I noticed when I hurt my hand and I had to get stitches and I was out of the water for 11 days, when I came back in the water, I felt scared. I felt nervous. I felt out of balance. I felt like fat and slow and like I couldn't paddle. So I stay in the water. And I'm catching little short tiny rides where I have to hold my rail and then I get eaten by these like 2 foot, 3 foot little monsters that build and go whoop, boom, and bounce on the beach. And I am practicing. quick up, down, quick up, down, quick up, down. And me and the 15-year-olds out there, I'm getting it. Like I'm smashing the shit out of these beach breaks. Like I'm getting them. I know how to pop real fast and cut hard right, pull the rail back, grinding up into these waves that are only like 2.5 to 3 feet by the time they crash on the beach. There's like only like 4 or 5 inches of water underneath me. My fins are like almost running on the sand, and I'm rallying down these like little pipes. Little tiny little barrels like this, me and these 15-year-olds, like every morning. And why am I doing it? Because I need to get comfortable. Because the same mechanics of grabbing my rail and immediately cutting hard left or right are the same mechanics I will need with the bigger waves. The bigger the drop in, the more I'm going to have to pull in. So for me, I'm just getting reps. And a bunch of guys that live where I am, they're like, dude, you're like wasting your time out there. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm staying comfortable in the fire. I'm staying comfortable. I'm watching all these people this morning won't even try the waves that me and this other 15-year-old are. Because the shit was fucking monsters. They just build and then they smash on the sand. And the only way that you can get them is you have to pop quick, drop quick, tuck in, and pull hard and go left hard or go hard right. Nobody wants to do that shit. Me and this little 15-year-old kid, I don't even know his name. We were just like rallying. We would just take turns. Rally, 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 rally. Eating monster, eat. Rep, 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 rep. But I do this because I don't want to be nervous of the 6-foot wave when I'm going straight down, and I'm getting over that nervousness by getting okay with just being pounded. Pounded. I'm practicing my duck dive on 2-foot waves. Practicing reps. Collision is the same way. When you take time off of collision, it becomes weird. If I don't stay in collision-driven communication for, let's say I'm not coaching anyone, consulting anyone, or having powerful conversations for 10 days, I will get hesitant. There'll be a sense of hesitancy in me. If I'm not selling, pitching, marketing, closing, training, leading, if I'm not staying in it, give me 10 to 14 days and I start to lose my edge. So for those who are used to it, you have to stay in it. And Darren, for those who are not used to it, you have to get in it. I am not a natural in the ocean with a board. That's not natural for me. I wasn't raised on the beach. I was raised in the desert and on lakes. I was not raised to read water, to read current, to read waves, to read breaks, to read any of that shit. I was not raised with that. So I am right now very clear when I run down, it's going to be me and a bunch of 15-year-old to 12-year-old boys. And it's going to be me and the junior high boys before school, and we're going to have fun. There's not going to be the hardcore dudes out there like the older guys. There's not going to be the pros. They're not going to be they're not going to be out there. It's going to be me and the young kid, because the kids just have fun, and I'm stoked having a blast anyways. I just love it. And I'm getting reps, which means there are collisions you're not having. For example, small collisions at a gas station. Instead of avoiding the collision, have the collision. There was a guy talking shit about my daughter at the volleyball game yesterday. I wasn't there. I got a second hand. Oh, shit, I was triggered as fuck. My daughter was serving. She fucked up her first serve. She's overhand 5th grade. She missed her first serve, and he started heckling. And I was like, my wife's like, tell me about this. I'm like, oh, fuck, motherfucker. I will fucking kill. Like, I was like, who's this motherfucker? Take a picture of him. I'll fucking hunt him down right now. Like, I was triggered as fuck. So I don't avoid collision anywhere when I'm trying to get into collision mode. When I'm in collision mode, I pick and choose my collisions. Some of you guys are such people pleasers that you don't fucking collide with anybody. Then you think you're going to lead under high pressure, high stakes, and be able to collide with your teams and your clients? You won't. You won't. Don't fucking fool yourself. Just like if I sit in my house right now for 2 to 3 weeks because there's been no waves here, if I sit for 2 to 3 weeks in my house and my board against the wall, my brand new board that I wasn't comfortable on, but now I'm comfortable as fuck on, if I just sit the board there and then the waves, I wait for the big waves to come in, I'm fucked. There's no way my discomfort levels are going to be ultimately high. The waves are going to feel huge. I'm going to feel like they're monsters. I'm going to be terrified. I'm already going to be a little sketched out when they start to get over 5-6 feet. I already know it. That's really fucking big to me. And to other people, maybe not big at all. To me, it is. That's why some of you guys, get all paranoid about collision, and I'm like, bro, that is a literal 2-foot beach break wave. That is not a big deal. Because I'm out riding 15 to 18 foot waves. Not really, not as a surfer. As a collision artist, yes. I take on big motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck. You do 100 million, I don't give a fuck. I will punch you in the mouth. Let's go. I will coach your ass up. I will consult your ass. And that is why, although right now, my businesses don't do 150 million a year, yet I have clients whose businesses do 100 to 150 to 200 million a year. I don't have 4,000 employees, but I don't need to have 4,000 employees. What they need from me is they need me to have the courage to do what? Collide. Because collision is what I'm a professional at. I'm a fucking professional. So you need reps. 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 Collide with your kids. Collide with your wife. Collide with your clients. Collide with your teams. Collide with the guy at the gas station. Collide with the lady at the grocery store. Collide with the asshole at the volleyball game. Collide. 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 It's a weird thing in sparring, boxing, okay? If you don't spar a lot, and you're sitting in an environment in which you don't get punched in the face a lot, you're worried about getting punched in the face. But this weird thing happens after you get punched in the face a few times. You stop worrying so much about getting punched in the face. And instead of actually backing away from the punch, you start stepping into punches. You start moving closer to the person you're sparring instead of trying to run away from the punches because you're just comfortable. And if this happens every day, and you're sparring every day, or you're rolling in jiu-jitsu every day, you get comfortable. You get comfortable in a good way in the sense of you can actually work on other shit that is beyond collision. So I'm telling you all right now, if you are hiding from collision, you have no chance to get practice as a coach. If you're hiding from coaching and you're not asking bold, direct questions of people, guess what? You're not going to be able to consult. Reps, 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 reps. There is no small collision. Not when you're getting good at this. In the beginning, there is no small collision. That's why for me as a surfer, dude, come on now. I'm not trying to pretend like I'm awesome. I can get out, I can read waves, I can get up. I can go left, I can go right, I can go straight. I can occasionally go up and down, but I still have not figured that shit out. So when I go out, I'm not a picky guy. My surf coach won't go out. All his buddies won't go out. They're all pros. Literally, we're pros. They're like, nah. They do something else. Run, work out, do something else, go swim, whatever. Me, I'm like, hell, dude. Did you see that? There's some waves. They're like, those aren't waves, bro. I was like, no, they are. They're like, bro, those are like crashing on the sand. I was like, I know, but fuck it. I'm going down there anyways. Because guess what I need? Reps, 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 reps. Get in the water, 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 get in the water. Can't get better in the water if you're on the land. Can't get more comfortable with collision if you keep not taking a stand. Chris Green. How reliant and important is it to a consultant to come up with original new content? You don't need to. Most of the content that your clients are coming up with is theirs. What you need to come up with are stories. So oftentimes the principles that you're teaching somebody are the same. But if you notice with me, I just tell lots of stories. We're going to talk about this at Business Summit 2. Is the power of stories and how to seduce through stories. How to help somebody's mind get into a place where they're comfortable with it. Okay, I think that was all our questions. Michael G. Eisen, collision has brought the most powerful personal growth for me in the last 60 days than ever before. Michael G. Eisen, that's because you've had more collisions with more significant people in the past 60 days than you probably have in the previous 3 years. Like, you were having collisions with, like, the 15-foot wave monsters. My big challenge is I haven't been around waves that are big enough as a surfer. I need to get comfortable getting pounded and held down for 6 to 8 seconds under the water. And then I need to be able to barely get half a breath and then get held under the water again for another 6 to 10 seconds. I need to get used to that. I need to become comfortable with it. I need to be able to float in space and just be inside of that watery experience and not panic and just hold my breath and count. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can fucking hold my breath over a minute. But the panic causes problems. And Michael, you've been smashing 15-foot waves. And you're feeling the release of panic, which is, hey man, I'm still here. Still here. I know that up to 6-foot waves. I don't know what that's like over 6-foot waves for me. Inside the world of collision, I know how to fucking collide with the government, collide with my attorneys, collide with my accountants, collide with my wife, collide with my kids, collide with you, collide with our property managers, collide with realtors, collide with fucking everybody. I just fucking collide. Why? Because collision is the path to cash. So I don't avoid shit. The only things I ignore, I don't avoid, the only things I ignore are collisions that do not give me what I want. And even then, if I was at the volleyball game yesterday, I for sure am going after this motherfucker. For sure. 100%. Guaranteed. It's probably why the universe provided an opportunity for me to not be there. Because then my wife got to handle it. Because if I was there, fucking problem. So, listen, I'm not pretending like I'm perfect at this. There are collisions I have where I will be halfway through the collision and I will recognize that this is going nowhere. I mean, in my mind, I already have that asshole choked up against the fucking bleacher and I'm beating the shit out of him. Over what? Because he's made fun of my daughter's serve? But I would have taken it personal. For sure I would have got triggered. For sure I would not have hesitated. For sure. Why? Because I have a history of doing this. Doesn't matter. I don't give a fuck how big they are either. It doesn't fucking matter. I was like, I go to this place and I'm like, Zah! You motherfucker! And so we're going to conclude this. We're going to conclude this training. The end message I want you to get is this. If you are uncomfortable to collide, don't worry. You won't be able to lead. And then you can just leave leading up to me. How's that sound? Or somebody else who has the balls to collide. If you don't want to coach, you don't want to pay the work, do the work to get yourself to a place to pull that off, it's okay. Don't worry, somebody else will do it. And Michael Estrella, that is the secret to the power, my friend. You just stated it right there beautifully. You have to collide with yourself before colliding with somebody else. And that right there is why most people's collision communication is shit. Because they have not actually collided with themselves with enough intensity to actually be in a place of certainty in collision. Because they're hypocrites. They expect other people to do shit they have not done. So, there you go. That's a wrap for today. We did the final under this format. We'll still have the leader training heading forward, but it'll just be one time a month. Final one like this. Final one for the week. Gentlemen, we didn't even need anything else. We just need a cell phone. Whiteboard. That's it. Marker. That's it. The stack equals colliding with myself model. Yep. Orist, here to expand my capacity to collide. Well, there we go. Chris, you're welcome, buddy. Gentlemen, have a great day. Hope you enjoy this. What you just saw is a taste of about 4 hours of training, broken down step by step, heading into Warrior Business Summit. This shit's gonna blow your fucking minds for those that are coming live. I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna show you some shit. There is a science and a madness, a scientific madness behind how I operate. And you're gonna find out I am far more strategic than I appear. and that I use all of my behavior of fire like a magician. So, excited to have you guys. Gentlemen, have a great rest of your day. That's a wrap. We're out of here. Sayonara. Who needs Daniel in his studio when I got my hand cam? Yeah, right. What am I talking about? It's way better with Daniel on the cam. All right, gentlemen. Later.